The end of innocence, the youngest face of this tragedy. 8-year-old Martin Richard. He was standing right there near the finish line, cheering on his dad. Then the bomb went off, and little Martin was killed. His mother has a brain injury. His 6-year-old sister lost her leg. Marathons everywhere are family events. Loved ones line the route, taking steps too, but not with their feet, but with all their heart. Now a dad who trained for months never got the chance to hug his son at the finish line. Dr. Schopp, you were in Boston yesterday, but whether you were there or not, we're all trying to process these images. Help us out.
It takes time. You know, these are family events. The runners do train for months. It's a celebration, and your family is there to root you on. And the last thing you'd ever expect is this kind of carnage. What I saw was the blood. I mean, after the smoke cleared, it was the blood on the streets and the knowledge that people were so gravely harmed. It's still something that I have a hard time reconciling.
So what do you say to your kids when they're waking up this morning and they're seeing these images? How do you even begin that conversation?
Well, I think that's the most important question, and really the answer comes through modeling. You want to model the kind of behavior that's going to teach them how to handle this. And it depends how old your kids are, right? So if you have young ones at home, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, they're not going to understand too much. You can answer their questions in a very concrete way. You don't want to elaborate or provide too much detail. Kids who are closer to grade school age, they are going to understand a lot more about right and wrong. And you can elaborate. You can talk about good guys and bad guys and what we can do to stay safe. And try not to make them fear unnecessarily, because this is rare, thank goodness. This does not happen, at least in our society, hardly at all. And your tweens or teens, they're able to talk about morality. They're able to really ask hard questions and grapple together with you about why this should ever happen in society and how we can try to stay safe as a family and as a community.
You know, Dr. Schopp, I know that in Kira and Mike, we've all seen images that have stuck with us, you know, through this, and this has to be one of them. A father standing near where the bomb went off, just in agony, covering his son's eyes, trying to shield him from what they were both seeing and feeling at that point. And we saw it and thought, you know, Dr. Schopp, I mean, what would you suggest this man, this dad, be able to say to his son this morning? Because they were right there.
It's so touching, you know, shielding his eyes. It's so metaphoric for what a parent tries to do to prevent harm from coming into our child's lives. I think the best thing possible really is just to, you know, hug your children tight, to let them know that you're going to do your very best to make sure that they're safe and they're okay, and to help start to normalize their life's routines. I tried to do that today when I woke up, but it was hard because of the helicopters. It was hard because of the noise. It was hard because of the armed guards, policemen with assault rifles on street corners. It's not normal here in Boston yet.
You know, we're going to talk about that with you, Mike, in just a second. But one of our bloggers, Lisa Hickey, she's the CEO of the Good Men Project, a big contributor on the show, also was in the thick of it all yesterday. She was actually trying to find her family during those explosions. You know, Lisa, take us to the finish line and your emotions as a mother and a wife. What did you say to your kids?
I was right there at the finish line with my youngest daughter, and one of my other daughters was running the marathon, and 2 of the other children were in the crowd. And it was just so exuberant right before the bomb went off. And then right when the first explosion occurred, my first thought was to get my daughter out of there. And then I didn't know where my other children were, but we were right between the 2 of the bombs, me and Shannon. And so 2 of my kids were on the other side of the first bomb. My ex-husband was towards the second bomb. And we actually started running towards the second bomb, me and Shannon, to try to get away from the first one.
How does it made you look at your family dynamic differently this morning as you wake up?
It really just made me appreciate the connection that we had. And Shannon at one point said to me she thought she was going to die, but she said, well, at least I had a good life. Like that was her thought right as the second bomb was going off. And it was just it's just amazing that that she would feel that peaceful and that we could still talk about it afterwards.
Lisa, thanks. We've got so much more to talk about today surrounding the Boston bombings. Mike, we're going to talk about the fear now that parents and kids live with every day. You know, one of our employees actually came up and started talking about her daughter, who said to her this morning, Mom, I can't go to the movies, to school, even sporting events now. Where can I go?